matches the number 1 seed in a rough game for the Detroit Lions. Let's get into it.
Hopefully we can bounce back next week, but let's get in the video.
So we haven't had to come into these streams without saying, thank you for joining us for a Victory Monday live stream in a long time. And I don't necessarily know how to get into this one. I mean, I guess the only way you could say it is absolute debacle, 31-9. I guess just in short for me, offense did not do enough. Mainly Sam Darnold did not do enough. The defense, well, I am one of those people that complains how this defense just seems to give up chunk play after chunk play after chunk play at certain times. The defense was the only thing keeping us in this game, and it's just Sam Darnold and that offense just did not get it done. And that's kind of the moral of the story. And then eventually the defense just got worn out, and that's how you end up losing a game 31-9 in a game that you were honestly in until the end of the third quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it was tough. It's another game where I'm like, I think like this is a game where at halftime we should have been up like 17-3. We just could not convert in the red zone. A lot of that did have to do with Sam Darnold, which is concerning as far as just, you know, and I mentioned this a lot prior to this. I'm not going to get into actually maybe a little bit here. I mentioned this prior to like this game, to playoffs, whatever about Sam Darnold. The whole Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy thing is, I was saying this shouldn't even be a conversation until we see Sam Darnold play in playoffs. This wasn't a playoff game, but this was the biggest. It almost basically was. This is the biggest game of his career, and this is arguably the worst game he's had as a Viking this season. He was just overthrowing all of his throws, and you know, we just could not get points on the board. We should have had 2 touchdowns in the red zone early. That ended up being fourth. I mean, no points at all. And, you know, this could have been a completely different game, even though our defense, you know, kind of fell down at the end of the game and allowed a lot of points. It might have not have came that way if we were scoring here. But before I keep going, Smokey coming in here hot, my guy. I don't know what to say to you anymore. $300 in here. You guys, not gonna lie, I'm extremely unhappy about the fact that we lost the freaking Lions. Again, since 2022, the Lions are 6-0 versus the Vikings now. Also now we have to play the Rams. If we lose them, we will be 0-4 versus LA and Detroit. There's nothing to be happy about this team. It's clearly going to be one and done.
Smokey. And then,
and then he comes back with another 50 spot. This was an absolutely embarrassing loss, and this team is not capable of winning a Super Bowl. I'm sorry, but I can't be happy with the 14-3 season when we keep losing to top teams. This team is officially like 2022, one-score games losing to good teams. So one thing I want to hit, I don't want to go too far into this. I'm sure it'll be brought up again. And this is what I was talking about yesterday when I was by myself last Wednesday, giving my little speech, or last Monday, giving my little JJ McCarthy versus Sam Darnold speech. And I know, Smokey, you were there as well. This is what I was talking about. Is the reality is we're like, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think we have a chance to win a Super Bowl. I still think there's still a chance. We've seen bad teams win Super Bowls. I think we definitely could potentially, but if you were going to ask me straight up, do I think this Viking team is the best team in the NFL? Do we have the best talent? Are we the most likely team to win a Super Bowl? The answer is no. We are not the best team. We saw it. We lost that game. We're not the best team in the NFL. And with Sam Darnold, paying him $40 million a year, we will never be the best team in the NFL. With JJ McCarthy, even if he is a question mark, we could create the best surrounding cast in the NFL for him. And then it's just the question mark is JJ McCarthy can live up to it. That is what I meant with this one. And this is just how I feel. Like, I still hope that we can bounce back in the next game against the Rams, but it's an uphill climb for us. Like, to win a Super Bowl this year, you do have to go back and beat Detroit for sure. And then you still have the Eagles on the other side that arguably is a better team on paper. And then you got on the other side for the AFC, you got the Ravens, you got the Bills, and then you got obviously the Chiefs. So it's just not going to be easy regardless. It doesn't mean that it's not possible. It doesn't mean that we can't bounce back from this bad game that we did have. I still think this is a Lions team that we should beat. It just really came down to Sam Darnold and his throws. Like, if he's on like he has been in the past 5 weeks, I think there's a good chance we ended up winning this game.
Right. And I know you said earlier, arguably his worst game. I would say easily his worst game as a Viking so far. And like, here's the thing, like you noticed a lot of the similarities that you saw in that Jacksonville game, right? When he started to press too much, he was looking for JJ, which led him into some almost pretty bad decisions. And it was and I know you had texted me during the game last week against the Packers, how you kind of noticed, we both did notice that his read, like he was getting better at getting through his progressions a little quicker and getting rid of the football. Where this game, when the first read wasn't open, you notice he started to get a little bit of happy feet, and then which led to him. And as he always says, him and O'Connell always say, match, your feet and your eyes have to match the play, right? To where if you're going to make a throw, you got to be firmly planted, and that's what helps you make a good throw. And he was just never firmly planted in this game. His feet were always jittery. He looked like Jimmy Garoppolo out there bouncing around, and then he just didn't look like the same quarterback that we had seen in weeks past. And look, it's not like. Just like after that Jacksonville game, though, like we have we no matter what have one more game left, and it's a big playoff game, and you can't go away from him now, right? So I mean, I know there's a bunch of people calling for his head today. I know we're already having the conversation about next year, and I 100% get that, but you got to be fair to the guy. I mean, he was a huge reason why this team has won 14 games, and I get it. Yesterday's frustrating, and the biggest game of his career. Honestly, the biggest regular season game in Vikings history,
in history, NFL history,
very up there at least. We did not show up, and I would say specifically Sam Darnold, because I saw a lot of people too kind of talking down on KOC, which I get. I do think he needs to run the football a little bit more, and I do think he does need to incorporate some short passes because he knows that Darnold likes to hold on to the football. But in the red zone, as we mentioned earlier, Jefferson was open twice. Addison was open twice. On second 27, if he puts that ball lower. That's 30 plus yards for Hawkinson. That's a huge conversion. On the first drive, on a third down, he overthrows him on the sideline. So, like, this isn't Kevin O'Connell. Like, sure, if there are little things that we've been nitpicking his entire career about the way he calls plays, absolutely. Facts. But receivers were open. And Sam Darnold, this game just missed it. But again, we owe it to the guy that helped us get 14 wins to at least see how he does going into this first playoff game. And what you have here is honestly the best case scenario for this team as it pertains to next year. Again, I mean, we all, no matter, even if you are somewhat of a Sam Darnold fan, I think deep down you know the plan, and we all know the way it's going to go. But this conversation could completely end this next week because he played in a playoff-like atmosphere on the road in Detroit. I mean, that you were in Detroit for the biggest game of Detroit's history. That I don't think that's even a questionable statement. Like, this was the biggest game in Detroit Lions football, and you're on the road in a hostile environment, and you get kicked in the mouth, and you play like. We'll say you play like shit, right? Yeah. So your next game now,
we can say shit on here.
If you're the front office and you're Kevin O'Connell and you're questioning what you do in the future, you're looking at Darnold this next game being like, okay, so if he comes back and he bounces back from this in a playoff game, or like this last game wasn't one and done, like you still had your next game to play. But if he comes out in this playoff game and plays the exact same way, the decision's easy. There's no more conversation about it. Maybe you bring him back 1 year super cheap just to make sure McCarthy's ready to go. But if he comes out and plays like garbage, then you know your decision's done. Like, okay, cool. He didn't get us there. It was a fun season, and this is your excuse to not have to pay him. But if he comes out and he bounces back and he plays really, really well, and he's a big reason why we win, then we're sitting here having the same conversation again, and everything's it is what it is. But so this, I mean, look, it's just, I guess what I'm just saying is I get the frustration with O'Connell and mainly Sam Darnold in this game, but we owe it to him to get one more game, and literally there is no other option. So let's just see how he performs in this next game when the pressure is really on, because if you lose, you are done. You are going home, and you got nothing left. So this next, I would say I understand getting upset with Sam Darnold. I really do. But we at least have to see what he does in this next game. And everyone's like, and yeah, we beaten some good teams this year, right? I mean, everyone still thinks the Packers are one of the best teams in football. We beat them. The Lions, we lost by 2 points the first time around, right? The Rams game, we started off hot. Yes, we struggled later on. Puka Nacua destroyed us. Defense did not play well that game, whatever. And then this game against the Lions, we had ample opportunities to score points, and we were still in this game going into the fourth quarter. So I understand that a day after a game like this, we're Vikings fans, right? Like, we don't understand. Like, once we're high, we get too high, and then this low really hurts, and it does, because there's so much on the line, and we just came out absolutely laid an egg. But there's still another game to play, another chance for this team to bounce back. And it's a team that has shown to be resilient, a team that has shown to bounce back. And it literally just comes down to, can Sam Darnold find what he had in the past 9 games, and just come down and just play confident football like he's been doing most of this season. Yeah. And if he wants, and if he honestly, and even for him, if he's not a Viking next year, for his future, you want to come out and show you can do it in this football game. Because even if we decide like, hey, we're just done no matter what, if you come out and you perform in a playoff game against the Rams and you win, and then you have a hard fought matchup against the next game and you lose, you're going to get, I mean, that's just going to make him more money. So I guess in a roundabout way, I understand the frustration, but we at least got to see what he does in one more game. And it's because we can't make a determination on what happens next year until this game's over. Yeah. And And this is another big thing too. He wasn't helped by the offensive line. I mean, the left side of that offensive line was atrocious. I mean, O'Neal, I believe like the pressure numbers came out. O'Neal, Reisner, and Bradbury, to their credit, held their own. But Cam Robinson's been bad the last couple weeks, and Blake Brandel is completely
been terrible. Yeah,
it's just Look, lots of frustration. I understand, but I still believe Sam Darnold can get it turned around, and he's going to have to. Literally for his future, he has to get it turned around. So we'll see.
I want to do some shout outs here. We got T-Bass in here right away. Wasn't that excited in the first place because I've seen this movie many times before. No, I'm not at all excited about the postseason. We'll be surprised if they lose. Will be surprised or won't be surprised. Won't be surprised. What's going on? Bleeding Purple in the building. I'm not really upset, disappointed. Maybe this was never supposed to be our year. We just need, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't know. It didn't hit me that hard. I knew, and this is the whole, like, I never got in this mindset that we were, and I kind of mentioned it last week where I was like, it feels like we're just over, like this game was bonus to me. It felt like more than like we're supposed to. And in the beginning of the season, we just wanted to make playoffs. That's it. If we made playoffs, that's a huge win. Now we're at the point where we should win at least one game in playoffs. But I never sat there thinking like, oh, we are easily the best team in the NFL right now. And if we don't, it's Super Bowl or bust type of season. Obviously, you wanted to win that game for sure. But I kind of with Bleeding Purple here. Like, I'm disappointed, but I'm not like, I don't know. This didn't feel like the missed Seahawks kick to me or any of those type of games to me at all. But
and this is a good point. And this is thanks for hopping in, by the way. And this is a great point right here when you kind of look at the whole thing. Is it like I think it was Collinsworth during the broadcast was kind of saying like when they got down into the red zone in spots where O'Connell thought that they were going to go man defense, they went zone, and when he prepared for zone, they went man. So he was just, it always felt like Aaron Glenn was one step ahead of Kevin.
Yeah,
O'Connell.
he was
Definitely. More on Kevin.
This was more.
I disagree.
I disagree big time.
We had open receivers all first half, and Darnold just them.
I don't believe that at all.
Need to lean more into the run sometimes, absolutely. But to me, this game, I mean, Kevin O'Connell, I mean, obviously he's the play caller. He deserves a little bit of the blame. But Darnold was just not himself. Or
if Darnold, we're up in this game majority of the time if Darnold just makes the throws more than KOC. I don't know. I don't really. It's easy to blame the head coach, but in my opinion, I gotta blame it more on Darnold than Kevin O'Connell. He had wide receivers open. Like those were missed throws that would have been a completely different game if Sam Darnold hits it.
Speaking of O'Connell, and I know we still got to do more shout outs and stuff, but kind of as we were talking about. This is all about like next year, and this is an overachieving year, which is very true for me. And I think we talked about this before the season when people thought we should have hopefully we have a bad team to get a better draft pick. Like, coming into the season, I know we both felt confident. Do you feel even more confident right now that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell are the right two people to lead this team?
Yeah. Easily.
Exactly. To me,
not even a question.
What the season was. And we did I ever expect 14 wins? Like we were saying, hey, if we can get 9-10 wins, then we even still think that this team's going in the right direction. Like, and that was the big thing the season was for me. Like, look, I still thought we had a great opportunity to get the 1 seed and go. I still think we have a good opportunity to make a run through the playoffs because this team has enough talent on it. But at the same time, like this season for me, like I wanted to come out of this season thinking like, yes, we have our GM and we have our head coach. And I firmly believe both of those things are in place. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing about this season, no matter how it ends.
Yeah.
And we have the right guys to lead this team going forward.
Exactly. And that's not even just that, even having the player, like knowing that the supporting cast on this team is good enough to do work. And that's, we have figured that out. There's holes on this team. And, that was the whole thing. It was like, we wanted that because the idea at the time was, JJ McCarthy is going to be your future. So you hoping that the rest of this team for JJ McCarthy and the coaches is going to be ready to go for him to take the keys to our franchise. And we can feel confident on that. And then obviously Sam Darnold comes in and plays really well and kind of messes with things a little bit. But I'm going to get more into that. Let me do some more shout outs here. Gary, my dude in the building. Hey, Smokey. Can we talk about the rest? Yeah, we'll get into that. Facts. pass interference. Yeah. We're gonna get into that. I'm gonna keep going here. So let me keep. I appreciate you, Smokey. We got George in the building. We got Salih, the Viking, in the building. Who else we got in here? Who am I missing? I saw some other people in here. Got them. Skol Mafia. I see you.
On the you guys are killing it on the comments today.
Yeah, Bob Sweet in the building.
25 you in here. 6
Rage the Beast within. I saw you earlier, my guy. Let's go. Appreciate you in. Nighttime in the building. FT Maddie. Harambe the white. Harambe the white. It's hard to run the ball. Yeah. Reliable Jones can be a bell cow. I mean, and we haven't been the best run blocking group in the NFL, that's for sure. And then Mark Phil, of course, my guy. We talked to you earlier, but still my guy. I'm 99.9%. I mean, they're saying that he's not hurt. They're saying he's not. We brought yours up earlier. Welcome in. Appreciate you all being in here. Stiff Richards in the building. We got Kinetic in the building. Who else we got in here? Rude Dog, welcome in. Kings of the North. I'm assuming this is a Lions fan. Yeah, it's obvious. Of course, again, everybody, another show, another JJ McCarthy rookie card giveaway. Get the hashtag Skols in the comments. Like the video. Like Casey said, and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate it big time. Joker Nation, I see you. But get all the hashtag Skols for your chance to win this at the end of the show. I just want to say one thing about Sam Darnold, because everybody knows where I was at as far as JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold, just because I believe in JJ McCarthy. I believe I really would like us to have the best team in the NFL, not like a team that just matches with some of the top teams. But the big thing is it has nothing to do with Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. He's proven a lot to me this year, and I don't want him to be bad. I do think the Vikings stick to their plan. I've always thought that they were going to stick to their plan, regardless of how Sam Darnold's going to play. I still want Sam Darnold to do well. I want Sam Darnold, if anything, for us to increase his value to potentially get a franchise tag and trade. But talking about this game, just like I said in the Jaguars game, it's too early in the after that Jaguars game. I was saying, like, there's people jumping off ship. They're like, play Nick Mullins, which I've seen again. I did see some more Nick Mullins stuff. And I'm like, hey, you got it. Like, he had one bad game. You got to give him a chance to bounce back. And I would say the same thing with this one. This was not a good game from him. I'm not sitting here like instantly like everybody should change their opinion and now JJ McCarthy for sure is the future. Like, no, hold your opinion. I want Sam Darnold to still bounce back in the next game. It doesn't mean I believe that he's going to be the future quarterback. But I want to bring this up. Mark Phil was rocking the GG hat, the Vikes bar. Hey, appreciate you. I was actually in a rap show yesterday, and he brought that up. He said that you were rocking the GG hat, man. I appreciate you big time. What up, JD? Skull me down. But yeah, man, it's just either way. Like, to me, in my opinion, this game ultimately was on Sam Darnold. Like we should have had a lot of points scored early. I think at halftime it should have been at least 17-7. And then obviously the defense let up. But what do you do when you keep making these huge plays? And I think Will Ragetz made a perfect word for it. He says, like, eventually the dam's gonna break. And that is exactly what happened here. And yeah, we just could not get anywhere on offense.
And this is kind of, and Kinetic, I agree 100%. Like, it's possible to both appreciate what Sam did for us this season and acknowledge JJ's the right move going forward. And that's a big, and that is a big thing. And for the Darnold thing, like, and he's done so well this year, and he's obviously exceeded.
We're gonna talk about it later.
He's exceeded everybody's expectations, but like,
ooh, Barb.
I don't after all this. I don't want him. I don't want him to go out. Like, after all the respect and appreciation he's earned from Vikings fans, I don't want him to go out on a dud. Like, I don't want people I don't want people to be happy that like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't want this good season he's built and the future he's built for himself to be just tanked by a couple bad games. Like, I want to see him at least go out competitive. You know, like, if he plays this way next week, like, every fan's just gonna push him to the side and be done with it. Like, I don't want to see that.
You're a madman, bro.
Just because I really do appreciate what he has done for this team this year. So hopefully he's able to turn around, at least be competitive, and still leave Minnesota on a relatively high note. That's all I want for him. I really do. Like, I don't want people to be. You know, I
would like to get a first round pick or something from him.
I just think that's just not the way that this is supposed to end for him. I'd feel really, really bad if it did.
Smokey, my guy, you're a madman. Can we talk about how Cam Akers had a 58-yard long run and couldn't freaking score? But unlike a lot of people, I think Aaron Jones should be a bell cow back. He leads the NFL in touchdowns in 2017. He's proven running back. I blame KOC and Sam. He's proven.
Again, I blame O'Connell just for not leaning into for
Run a little bit more.
Run too early sometimes, especially when you're not even out of it, and you could still. And we were running the ball relatively effectively as well. So
yeah, and it's just man, you should have just scored. We couldn't get into the red zone anyways. Like every time we ran the ball in the red zone, we got absolutely dominated. I mean, I don't think we got a single inch from running it in the red zone on any of those times. Like, and people kept saying, run it. It was like, we can't get anywhere in the red zone on the run. That's the hard part. It's like, yeah, you can blame that on Kevin O'Connell with the run game, but it shouldn't even have came up to the red zone. We had wide open wide receivers, and we should have scored multiple touchdowns there. We wouldn't even be talking about the run game if we scored touchdowns there. So, I mean, I do believe, like, yeah, he should have ran more, but that's where it's just like, you have to make those throws, man. I don't know. I just think you have to make those throws. Give me that 2 first-round picks for Darnold. Actually, let me bring up some PFF stuff before we move forward here. But again, everybody, giving away the JJ McCarthy rookie card. Get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. We have 9 likes. We have like 23 people in here, only 9 likes. Would love to get that up. Would appreciate it big time from everybody in here. When that happens, is PTA. We got some Lions fans jumping in. Probably the thumbnail's bringing them in. Oh, I see you got that CJ on. Nice. Yeah, buddy. Facts. Could have used him yesterday a little bit more. Get him in the passing game. Getting those hashtag goals in there. Let's go. But anyways, let me bring up some stat stuff, and we'll kind of go into our studs and duds of this game. Let's see here. Let me take this thing down real quick. All right. Actually, I'll bring up our stats first, and then I'll kind of go into PFF to take a peek at those. We can just go into ours. I mean, the big one here, Sam Darnold, 18 for 41, 166 yards, 2 sacked twice, rating of 55.5, which I would not be surprised if is his worst of the year. It's probably lower against Jaguars, since he did throw multiple interceptions there. Cam Akers, 6 of 10, 65 yards. We talked about that 58 long bomb one. I know when you're watching that one, you're just like, please score. Like, we do not want to be in the red zone again. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Yeah, our receivers just not really good overall. 54 yards on 3 receptions on 9 targets for JJ. Jordan Addison didn't get a single yard this game. TJ just 2 on 8 targets for 9 yards. Jalen Naylor, if any of these guys did solid in the run game, in the pass game, it's Aaron Jones, who we did mention. That's one thing we mentioned. One of our keys to victory was to get Aaron Jones involved and Cam Akers involved in the passing game. We did do that here, but that is something that we could have done more, especially on some quick plays and things like that you talked about, Kevin O'Connell, earlier. And then obviously on defense here, Ivan Pace has a big game, 10 total tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, an interception, pass defense. Plus, he should have had a sack on Jared Goff that would have ultimately been a safety if we didn't get absolutely fucked right there. A couple more sacks, bunch of tackles for a loss, all that good stuff. The defense really...
Almost a 3rd touchdown by Andrew Van Ginkel. So close.
Yeah, I know. And that would have busted the game open. Then Sam Darnold would have had to have gotten his confidence back after that one. But jumping into some PFF stuff right here, just the offense, nothing great here. You got Cam Akers and Aaron Jones sitting at the top, Brian O'Neill, Josh Oliver, and Jalen Naylor. And at the bottom, some guys you don't see all the time here. Blake Brandel, you do see him a lot here. Sam Darnold, but Justin Jefferson, 3rd to the bottom, CJ. They always disrespect fullbacks on here. And then Jordan Addison, for the bottom 5 there, not optimal.
His dad was talking some smack on Twitter.
Was he? He always is.
He said that's it. He said Jordan needs to do push-ups on the plane home. So does Kevin
I love it.
Then he said so does Kevin O'Connell. Like,
I love that.
If I'm Addison, I'm like, yeah, let's not be talking shit about the coach on Twitter, okay? Let's just
right.
Sure. The coach though probably don't do that.
Shaq Griffin at the top here. You got Gennard Pay, who also had a really good game, really nice sack. Ivan Pace Jr., Jahad Ward, and then Gilmore here. And then from the bottom up, Tillery, Redmond, Dallas Turner, Blake Cashman, and Cam Bynum. Dallas Turner, we didn't see much of him. I didn't even realize I was like, is he even playing? So he's just not making an impact yesterday in his limited snaps. But yeah, any other thoughts on the PFF stuff before moving?
No, I guess just overall. I guess we'll probably talk. Actually, we'll talk about winners and losers. So I don't need.
All right. Let's see what we got in here. Ivan should have had a pick 6. He was I know that was another one. I'm like, If he would have got a pick six and Cam Akers would have just scored his touchdown, then we didn't even need the red zone thing, and that would have been nice. My card came today. If I win, I will gift it. Oh, dang. Okay, sounds good, dude. Sounds good. To play, but didn't get any help. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. And actually,
that was the story of the game. And then, I mean, that 31 points by the Lions it's a little bit. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, it obviously happened, but it's a little bit inflated just because of how much that the defense was on the field.
And we're going to talk about the defense in a second here, but starting off with Cam Akers, I mean, the one stud we have here on offense, he was the only, I mean, ultimately getting into the red zone, not converting there. Cam Akers was like the one guy who made that one really big play that, again, set us in the red zone. I wish he would have scored there, but Cam Akers gets our one stud for the offense here.
I mean, 6 for 65. I mean, obviously 10.8 is going to be a little bit inflated because of the, 58-yard run. But, I mean, Cam Akers, he's flashed in the last few games. So, I mean, but again, I do just think they need to lean into the run game more at certain times and just take some pressure off of Darnold. So you're not in too many straight drop back 5-7 step drops. You can go into more play action type stuff. So I don't know. It just felt like the game plan was never really sustained anything. And the game plan never really shaped up the way that they expected it to. And Aaron Glenn just had a really, really good plan. And Anzalone was an absolute beast, kind of containing.
I know. It sucked that he came back when he did.
Every game we lose, always someone comes back.
Yeah, even though
you got to give him credit. They played really, really well. So
yeah. Keep on going here with what's that? Oh, any more on Cam Akers?
No, that was about it. Just saying. He had a good game.
Yeah. Keep on going here though. I just put everybody in a bunch here. First 3 quarters defense stepped up big time. Like I said, multiple interceptions. You should have had a safety. You should have had, I mean,
just a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, lock them down for the most part for 3 quarters. And ultimately, like we've been talking about, the offense just didn't bring up any help for them. And ultimately, Flores stepped up for the most part in this one, and this defense did, and we just didn't take advantage offensively.
Right. Well, and you know me, I get frustrated with this defense every single game that I watch, just because they do give up those chunk plays. They do like to kind of drop into zone. Flores is just a blitz happy guy, and I guess my overall thoughts is,
what up, Skol Nation?
This is one of those games where the defense did everything they could to put this offense in position and to win games. But at the end, look, I don't like Flores blitzing against Goff because we just don't get there, and B, Goff is really good against the blitz, mainly because of how great that offensive line is and the weapons that he has. But I get it though, when you're getting late third quarter and fourth quarter and your team and the offense just can't sustain anything, you got to be aggressive and try to get as many turnovers as possible. And I truly believe that Flores knows blitzing Goff isn't the smartest idea. But I do think all the blitzes at the end of the game were literally just that, just thinking we got to find a way to force another turnover, or we can't let them get in fourth and short because we know they're going to go for it. And that's just debilitating. So I think that was more of Flores, like, I just got to try something to get the ball back on our offense's hands, and hopefully it can start to click. And just, it never did. And eventually, I mean, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs, 139 on the ground and 31 through the air, including that touchdown. Eventually Jahmyr Gibbs just wore us out, and that offensive line is really, really good. So this defense did everything they had to do for as long as they possibly could until the game script just got away from it. And that's how you get a 31-9 score. I mean, it's not on the defense whatsoever. It's all on that offense and Sam Darnold just not being able to execute when they needed to.
Yeah.
And it's just when you go to the red zone 3 or 4 times, you can't score a touchdown, you miss some field goals. It is absolutely just debilitating and just confidence crushing for an offense, just not be able to do that. And your defense is out there like, well, does it matter if we stop them? Like, what? We're going to get the ball back and do nothing?
Yeah, I don't think that defense would have played. I don't think that happens at the end of the game if it wasn't for the way everything else was going.
Absolutely. And I truly still believe that Kevin O'Connell has his team believing in each other. And I don't think it's that. I don't think anyone's quitting. I just think it was just one of those games where you just got beat down. And I mean, you were in this game till the fourth quarter. That's really what it comes down to.
Yep, and that's pretty much all we got for studs here, because this was we gave a lot. I mean, you could have picked Ivan Pace Jr. here out specifically. He did have a really good game. He should have had the sack, which brings us to our first dud here, and that is the refs. I mean, it wasn't all about the refs, but the refs screwed us harder than Joy Taylor did from Fox Sports executives.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. Haha! I just got. Nice. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, just some like the no intentional grounding in the end zone, the intentional grounding on us when it was clear that Darnold got out of the tackle box.
I mean, it was the face mask. The first right away in the beginning of the game, you get the face mask that puts us like 25 yards and like 2 yards from our own end zone. The safety was ridiculous. That one's really bad. I mean, that's huge. You get 2 points and the ball back. So that was a big one. TJ Hawkinson should have gotten a big pass interference there later in the game. It was just
we probably did get a couple delay of games that they just didn't call because they were very close. And just, I mean, and I know Jefferson said that they were pretty physical on defense, probably a little bit too physical for what the rules allow, but
she's suing. No, so the story on that is the hairdresser for Fox Sports came out and she's the one suing people, everybody up, including, she was in the report and all, like Skip Bayless is in the report and all this stuff. But pretty much what they're saying is that Joy Taylor slept her way to the top. That is what is in the documents. And that's what she told her hairdresser. Stop crying about the rest.
We're not necessarily crying.
I wouldn't even.
We just got done earlier pointing out a bunch of reasons why we lost this game, and you just.
I will blame this one on the refs, but they definitely. I mean, they didn't help at all. I mean, it was significant play calls. Big one. You don't call a safety. That was really obvious. A face mask that sent us like 20 yards back or whatever. It's a big deal. It is a big deal, but we lost because of other reasons. Other than that, it doesn't surprise me. She's thicker than a snake. Oh dang, that's funny.
And this is and everyone's.
Which one did you put up? My bad.
Gary here, and it feels like everyone's in here just talking about how the season's over and all this stuff. Like they got to bounce back, and that's what you want again for the future of this team. That's what you want to see from your coaching staff, that he can lead his team after a game like this and bounce back and go win another one. So it's like I get the doom and gloom. I get that it's frustrating, but like just there's more football to be played. And
I'm not calling quits here. We're already surpassed my expectations. So
not go into this thing and just lay down. That's just not good for the future of your team. And by the way, speaking of the future of the team, I just random thought about JJ McCarthy. He's got to keep the hair. Absolutely, you cannot cut that. You got to keep the flow.
Going.
Adds a little air of confidence.
Did you see that they had the Anakin? I forgot the actor's name, but Anakin Skywalker. Hayden Christensen. Yeah, that was like perfect. But keep on going here. So I mean, we talked about the refs. I do think that is a problem, but we've already talked about this guy, and this was the bigger problem in this game. Like I said, 18 for 41, 166 yards, 0 touchdowns. No interceptions, which is big, but just could not. I mean, it's hard to get interceptions when you can't hit any players on the field. Even though he almost did throw a really, really, really bad one from an ex-player, Vikings player of ours, Zadarius Smith, that was bad. That one could have been really bad, but ultimately no turnovers. But just a bad game from Sam Darnold. Was missing everything.
He was off from the start, and that was the biggest issue. And he just never. Look, Kevin O'Connell's done a great job, like just kind of coaching those bad games out of him, and when he does get down like that, trying to hype him back up. But like, it's just he never got to that point in this game. So Darnold was never able to settle in, and honestly, like in the Jets game and then in the Jaguars game, he never really actually settled into those games. And again, I just feel like we saw some of those things we saw in that Jaguars game where he was keyed in on JJ. And when the first read wasn't there, he just kind of hit the panic button and wasn't able to go through his progressions. And like we had seen that because I mean, there was one play where he missed Addison. Like Addison would have been wide open right in the middle, but he'd had to been quick with it. But we've seen those before, where he comes off his first read quick and he's able to hit Addison streaking over the middle. And he just never got to that point yesterday. And it's really weird. And it's just, again, we've seen this happen to him in the past and he's bounced back from it, but it's just, he picked a bad spot for it to happen. And it's just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating just how big of a role he had been on, just for him to come out and have a game like this. It's just,
especially, it's just the biggest game. It's like, it's the biggest game of his career, it just gives you that it's the Kirk Cousins thing. It's literally the Kirk Cousins things where it's like, hey, he plays really good in regular season, but he chokes in playoffs or whatever. It's like,
we don't know how he is in playoffs because we haven't had playoffs yet.
No. But that was like the whole thing. Like, why we shouldn't even be having this conversation until we see him in playoffs. But it's just not a good sign for him to do it in the biggest game of his career right now. But it doesn't mean he can't bounce back.
Right. But now we get to see again, like I said earlier, like, and this is for him going forward and for this team's decision going forward. Like if he wants to stay here, and this was a game where the end wasn't happening, right? If you lose,
Crown, my guy.
Crown. Like if you lose, you are guaranteed another football game last night, right? Like that's how it all is. But now, so he has a bad game like that. His confidence is probably down. And the next game you're going to, it's a place that you've already lost. And if you lose, you are done. So just for the future of Sam Darnold in the NFL and just how much money he's going to make and all this type of stuff, like he needs to have a bounce back game. And this is going to tell us a lot about the mental makeup of Sam Darnold. Like by next Monday, we will know whether or not we even need to have this conversation anymore. Right? Like if he comes out and plays like this again when the season's actually on the line, then you can just step back and be like, okay, it was a fun experiment. We had a lot of fun moments. He got us to 14 wins. He was a huge reason because of that. But we need a guy that we now know, right? Mm-hmm. We now know 2 games in a row he wasn't able to fix it, especially when he knew this next game is the biggest game of his career. So next Monday at about 10:30, we will know the future of Sam Darnold to an extent, I guess, but we will know how Sam Darnold's mental makeup. And that's I'm really excited to see how he's going to bounce back, and it's going to be a team effort, but we'll see. See, but this next game is so important for his future.
And Ronald, we'll tap in on this later. We'll talk about that a little bit, and then same here. We'll come back here. I mean, overall, the free agency, a lot's going to have to do with what we're doing. I think with Sam Darnold and not or whatever. But the reality is, even though I'm Team JJ McCarthy in the future, I want Sam Darnold to obviously bounce back. I really, honestly, I think he's going to. I mean, it's fair for him to have a bad game. I can't just chalk it up because you can't just one game. This one, you can't just chalk it up as like, all right, he can't handle the big moments. I'm not giving him that. If he plays a bad against the Rams, then we can have that conversation. But I think he deserves to have a bounce back, just like he did after that Jaguars game. And then he did exactly that. He bounced back. Rams team, the win next Monday. I mean, I think we're the better team. I think we should beat them, in my opinion. And plus, and going to LA doesn't really matter since it's mostly Viking fans every time, anyways. That's
true. Yeah, LA is.
They beat us last time. We were better last time, and they still beat us. So I mean, it's going to be a hard one, anyways. There's a lot of talent on that offense. But keeping on rolling here with our next dud, which kind of just ties everything together. I mean, I mentioned it. I mean, you had 0 catches from Jordan Addison. Wasn't all his fault, but he should have something out there. TJ Hawkinson, you know. There's a couple catches that I felt like he could have had, but then of course we just got to talk about Justin Jefferson here, who like ultimately wasn't. There's a lot of bad throws, but he did drop 2 balls at least in this game. And I showed you guys the PFF scores. He was like the third to the bottom, third worst score on offense. Just not the best game from Justin Jefferson either, and just pass catchers and quarterback in general. What's your thoughts on that? All right, we'll answer Smokey first, but
Smokey with another $9.99. We appreciate
Smokey, my guy, dude.
Issue with the defense is it comes to Stafford, Goff to a similar degree. This defense can't force incompletions. Very nervous. Let's see what happens. And that's the thing.
That is a scary thing.
I think Aaron Glenn played us really well because he knew that if you like we have long developing drop back passing, and like that's one thing that we just don't seem to do, to where like they adjust and like and they do things a different way. Where like that's what we saw when we played the Rams last time. Like our defense, they knew how we play defense. They know we're aggressive. We're going to try to blitz. So their plan for that was to just get the ball out of the quarterback's hand quickly. And that's exactly how Puka Nacua just beat us up over the middle of the field. And it's just something you don't see our defense do enough. So, or our offense adjust to, even with all the like drop back passing. We have not enough quick stuff. So, I mean, I think that's 100% right. It's just like Goff and like the Rams are going to be watching. The Rams watch the game, and they're going to know how to go after our defense. And Puka is one of the best receivers for that. And Kyron Williams on the back.
And we've already seen it. Seen it.
So we're going to have a really good defensive game plan. And honestly, I would like for Kevin O'Connell to pick up a little bit of what McVay's doing over there on offense. Like incorporate some of the short stuff. Like that's because everyone thinks that we're going to be drop back passing. So just adjust. I mean, again, I don't know. It is what it is. I get your.
We need more short passes. We've been saying that forever with Kevin O'Connell. We need more short passes, and we do.
Yep.
And he does hold the ball long. I mean, hopefully we need a bounce back.
I do think the two things are married though, because I do think a lot of this offense is predicated on long developing routes. So I do think in a way Darnold has to hold on to the ball because we don't really have a lot of check down stuff. I don't know.
We should.
I know, absolutely. It's kind of crazy. So again, love Kevin O'Connell. I think he's grown a lot as a play caller. And who are we to sit here and tell him what to do? I mean, he's been in the league obviously good offensive play caller in the league, and he has a bright future. But just a few things as a fan you're wishing you would see a little bit more of, I guess. But
yeah. Keeping on going.
The passing game in general is just a frustration, and that's
in general, right? And another one that is kind of for our last dud, something that is kind of getting scary here, and it's something on this season that I was really, really, really hoping we wouldn't get to and have to talk about this on a weekly basis. And that is Will Reichard. He did hit 3 field goals, including a 51, but misses a 52 bad, like whatever. That's going to happen. It's 52 yards, but then has that really bad kickoff that ultimately led to 3 points at the end of the half. And then it's not just this game. It's just now you just start thinking of like, oh, he missed, 2 kicks last week, and he's like 7 for 13 or whatever in his last 5 games. And it just feels like it's time to definitely be worried about Will Reichard nailing like the big kicks, which sucks because we've been spoiled for most of this year as far as like feeling like him or John Parker Romo can come out and hit the field goals when we call them. Call on them to do it.
And that's another thing. I mean, the kickoff out of bounds was bad, but also like Kevin O'Connell did mismanage the clock there. Like, I don't know why we called the timeout if you're going to kick a field goal anyway. You just should have let it run down to like 10 seconds, run a quick play, and if you don't get anything out of it, then you move on and kick the field goal. So I thought he did mismanage the clock there a little bit. And with the seating, I 100% disagree. I don't think.
I agree.
I don't, because you need to win your division, and if you can't win your division, like we lost to the Lions twice. You don't deserve to have a home playoff game if you can't win your division. It does not matter.
Yeah, I do, because if you can, I don't know, if you're 14-2 and you're against,
find a way to be, if you're 14th, find a way to be 15-2 and win your division. You got to win your division.
Fair, but I wouldn't say it's not as obvious. It's not as obvious to me. I think, in my opinion, I'm like, if you're the better team, you should get the higher seed.
You got to win your division and that's what it's. That's why every team
like made up. Divisions are just like made up,
But that's why every team's first goal is you win your division. You have to win your division, and if you can't,
I do kind of like that part of it. Is it makes the division a lot more important in winning those games. Otherwise, important.
These divisional matchups are like, what's the weight to them? It doesn't really matter.
Is Will facing growing pains? So I mean, Kevin O'Connell has said that he's not injured anymore. So I'm just taking his word for it. So it just seems more like growing pains. What they do think is like him being injured and then coming off the injury, like that. He's just it just might have messed with him a little bit. I know we ain't trying to say the Y word. If you know what I'm saying. I don't know if you do. Yeah. Oh, what do you can't say that shit, dude. Gary, positive note, Saturday Chandler threw for 5. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking to Chandler. Who are we talking about here? Thomas, thank you. Yeah, Vikings was playing at home. We said they have a chance, but we are playing these dudes to horrible playoff format. Yeah, it is what it is.
And ever since the league started, win your division, get a home game. That's how it is.
Made up. You have shitty teams in the playoffs because they won their division. The division is made up, but then you have shitty teams in the playoffs because they won their. Yeah, that's a hard part. It's like, yeah, I like the whole division thing, but that's the annoying part of that for sure. Is that it could be a completely ass division and the top team makes it. Even though,
but then you're probably like. But then if you're a higher wildcard team, you go to play one of those crappy division winners that you should beat, right?
You should.
The highest wildcard seed isn't a bad thing.
But they don't. I don't know. I would say. I mean, I would have to agree with the chat mostly. I would say I'm cool. I would be cooler with them just changing the seating. To be honest,
absolutely not.
I don't see it happening. But hey, I agree. I agree with you guys. Keep it on moving here.
Win your division or suffer. That's the way it is. You got to find a way to win your division.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I love it. I don't know. It's one of those old head things, you know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, this is how football's always been. This is just how it's always been.
Right. It's the right way to do it. It's right. 100%. And if you disagree, you're wrong.
That's crazy.
That is one thing I will stand on. You got to win your division. It's most
Here, I think you should, but man, it's just it. I don't know. It's like I think it could be better. I think it could be better. This one is pretty messed up here for me, but keep on moving here to the gauntlet. If anybody doesn't know what this is or hasn't seen this before, we each get 30 seconds for each one of these topics. We have game ball, biggest loser, Darnold report, frauds or overreaction, Kevin O'Connell trade, and 2025 opponents. I don't know if anybody's seen yet, but they've released who each team is going to play, and the Vikings have an absolutely brutal schedule coming up next year. Yeah, I mean, and that's saying it kind of lightly, and yeah, we can get into all of that, but
yeah.
Jimmy was talking about Mike. Yeah, that's who I thought you were talking about. That's who I thought you were talking about, but you said Nebraska. I didn't know he was playing against Nebraska, like different states and stuff. I thought it was just like in the state. So he's playing against other states. That's crazy. That's what I thought you were talking about. But yeah, the Nebraska thing threw me off there. But let me know when you're ready to jump in on this.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, game ball.
This one is tough because there wasn't a lot of great performances, but maybe for the last time, I got to give it to Harrison Smith. 37th career interception. I don't remember where he ranks among active players, but obviously there's some speculation this could be Harrison Smith's last season, especially if Brian Flores does decide to go elsewhere. What an outstanding career. I mean, obviously first round pick back in 2012, just absolute class. Always been a hard-nosed player. You love Harrison Smith. If it's his last game, it's sad, but it's great to see him go out in his last regular season game with an interception.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot, but I'm going to have to give this one to Ivan Pace Jr. I mean, 10 total tackles. He should have had a safety. He had that interceptions, which was a really big heads-up play. I mean, he had to go over his head to catch that one. He had a couple big tackles. I wish I was talking about AVG here. With his absolute monster hit on Gibbs and then almost a pick six would have been crazy. But I got to go with Ivan Pace Jr. on this one.
Yeah. Biggest loser. I mean, I'm going to save this for after, but so I'm just going to go with red zone offense in general. I mean, we got down there 4 times, unable to convert any of those into touchdowns. We had plays that were working. We had plays that were open and we just didn't take advantage of it. And against a team like Detroit, and again, I actually don't. I like that Kevin O'Connell went for it on 4th down both times because you got to just be aggressive and try to find a way to get into the end zone. It didn't work, but you cannot do that against a team like the Lions on the road and expect to win.
Yeah, I mean, I know where you were. It's obvious where we're trying to go with this one, but I'm just gonna double down with you. Red zone offense, and I'm not just blaming it on just the quarterback. I mean, Justin Jefferson did drop one that he generally would have, even if it was overthrown, and it is just not clicking there. And you can bring that on Kevin O'Connell. You can bring that on the offense in general, Sam Darnold, the whole thing, but it wasn't clicking. We could potentially win this game if we scored those touchdowns.
And the offensive line could have been a bigger loser too.
And offensive line, yeah.
Obviously, we've talked a lot about Darnold tonight. I mean, look, as we know, worst game of the year. But I can't sit here and say that I mean, you gotta also, like, you look at this game and it's a blemish. It's bad. This could be very well. These last couple of games could be like the lasting image of Sam Darnold in Minnesota. But before this at least during this next week, I want you to sit back and just really deeply think about what he's contributed to get this team here. But it was a bad performance last night.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously it's kind of an understatement. Obviously he just could not hit anything. Again, like I said before on here and before, I'm going to give him a chance to bounce back. I know it was a big game, his biggest game of his career. It is kind of scary to know, like, hey, I was hoping you'd step up in these moments and you didn't in this one, but I'm going to give him that chance to bounce back next week. If the same thing happens again and he has another one of his really bad games, I mean, then you're questioning how the big moments are for him.
Absolutely. Frauds or overreaction. Look, I mean, I get it. Everyone is looking at Darnold and the Vikings, just waiting for a game like this to happen so they could come out and be like, I told you they were frauds. No, look, I mean, are we the thumping our chest like best team in the NFC, like we were all kind of maybe talking about for the past month or so? Probably not.
Yeah.
But this team, we're definitely not frauds. I mean, when we're on, we can hang with anybody. We were moving the ball. We had opportunities. So calling this team fraud is a definite overreaction.
Yeah, I don't think there's a team in the NFL that we can't beat. I do think we have enough to go beat anybody, especially when Sam Darnold is on his game like he has been of recently. But no, I mean, the funny thing about the frauds thing, most of it's coming from other Viking fans. I mean, you lose one game and it's just this whole season is completely over now. I don't believe that. I think that is an overreaction. And I think you have to give the chance the Vikings to kind of bounce back into this Rams game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then, of course, the Kevin O'Connell trade rumors that came about from Jay Glazer on Sunday. Complete and utter BS. I mean, this team loves Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell loves being here. I know I know we like to nitpick about the play calling because, I mean, again, he is the offensive play caller, so you're going to notice that being on the field. But the culture he's built here, he always brings in good coaching. And it's not just, Flores is the reason why we won this many games. We did this back in 2022 with a much worse defense. So Kevin O'Connell trade, complete bullshit. He's going to be here for a long time. He will be the first coach to win us the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you can't give Kevin O'Connell up for like anything. This is a coach that you could see being your head coach for like 20 more years. You don't risk that at all. He's already been one of the most successful head coaches in the first 3 years ever. He's about to be coach of the year. And I mean, what he's done with the quarterbacks is absolutely insane. Like, you're not trading for anything. I can't even believe that they even brought that up. Of course, Kevin O'Connell wants to be here. The culture has changed so significantly. It's become a reason for players to come here and be a Viking.
Yeah. Then, of course, the 2025 opponents. I mean, we play the AFC North and we play the NFC East. And obviously the Giants, whatever, but the Eagles are there, the Commanders are there. And that home schedule is going to be an absolute gauntlet. You have the 3 division games. You get Baltimore and Cincinnati both here. I believe Washington comes here. I think the Eagles might come here too. Like, I mean, it's going to be a tough one, man. It's going to be a tough schedule, but it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we already have like the most stacked division in NFL history as far as the 3 teams at the top. Maybe you see a little bit more from Chicago. And then, like you said, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Dallas, if they can bounce back. But then the Eagles, the Commanders have changed things. Maybe Penix. There's a lot of talent on the Atlanta team. Kirk Cousins just kind of fucked it all up. And then Penix is just a rookie or whatever. So, I mean, in Seattle, there's just not really a team that's just an obvious dub other than the Giants pretty much.
Yeah.
And I guess that's pretty much all we have here. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough schedule next year. And that's why, we need to stack our holes on this team.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, and if you want to test the mettle of your young quarterback, if that is the plan, and he's healthy enough to start next year.
I agree, Thomas. Unless we win the ball. First off, I think they decide on that prior, but I don't believe that at all. Like, you lose a coach of the year because you lost to a team that was expected to be one of the best in the NFL when you were supposed to be a 6.5 win team this year, and he's made you 14-2 or 14-3.
You doubled your win projection for this year.
Yeah. There's not even a question. And you got a quarterback that used to be a bust up until this point and turned him into up until this last game, people had him in an MVP conversation to some extent or whatever. Kevin O'Connell is your coach of the year. It's not even close. Just because you lose against one of the best teams in the NFL doesn't mean he should just lose it. That's craziness.
And I really don't mean this, and I don't think he's going to be good. But I am actually just really curious to see what Dan Campbell does next year when he most likely loses Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Because he's going to have to obviously hire the replacements and everything. But again, I still think he's a good coach. But I'm curious to see how it's going to look when he loses these elite coordinators that he has there. So that'll be.
I just think if Dan can't, I know that's going to be tough. I know that's scary, and that I think if Dan come on, Dan Campbell, they were supposed to be here. You beat KOC, but you're talking about you beat a team that was supposed to go have 6.5 wins this year. Kevin O'Connell has done a lot more with less, especially at the quarterback position. I don't know. I think he should obviously be. I don't think that one game. Most people had us losing that game anyways. So and people already had Kevin O'Connell as the favorite. But hey, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Kevin O'Connell wins that one. I think he's going to be a really good head coach. It is scary seeing everybody coming after McCown and then Flores. Like everybody says, there's no way Flores is going to go somewhere going through having the lawsuit with the NFL or whatever. But I'm like, man, I'm nervous about it, man. Everybody wants, why interview him?
Right.
And not even have him as a possibility of signing. And then the Patriots with Jared Mayo. I mean, that's fits like a glove to go bring Flores to the Patriots team. So yeah, man, I don't know. I have a bad feeling we might not see Flores on this spot next year.
But then, like seriousness, but also, Rooney Rule is a thing too.
True.
That you do got to watch for, which is what it is. I mean, that's a different conversation for a different day. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But again, but I still have trust, because I think I saw Maddie mention earlier. Like, if that happens, I would love to bring in Rob Salah. Even bring in Brandon Staley, shitty head coach, but I think he'd be a pretty good defensive coordinator.
And him and Kevin O'Connell are tight.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
He made him choke his chicken. He watched him choke his chicken. Did you see that?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, that was
the Sunday conversations.
Yeah. But also, what was the other thing I was gonna say? But then again, he did this in 2022 with Ed Donatel as his defensive coordinator. So it is what it is. Like, in a car. Yeah, he choked his chicken. Watch him choke his chicken in a car. So they've been that's like a deeper, right? They've been places together. You know what I'm saying? I think they were both with the Rams in different. That's probably what it is. So I mean, that would be an obvious choice, and I wouldn't be surprised. But hey, hopefully, I want Flores for another year. I really wish, we just had him for JJ McCarthy's rookie contract at least, but we'll see what happens there. Again, everybody, giving away the JJ McCarthy rookie card. Get the hashtag Skols in the comments. Like the video. We have 24 people in here, only 14 likes. Subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate it big time. And as we wait here to get those hashtag Skols in here, I mean, how are we feeling early about this Rams Vikings game? Look, it's going to be tough. I mean, you're on the road in the playoffs. The Rams, were one of the only other team other than the Lions to beat us this season. It's a tough spot to be. It really is. Like, you'd love to play at home. The Rams are a good football team. Matthew Stafford's a really experienced quarterback. McVay knows how Kevin O'Connell is. He coaches them for years. Right. But and again, I really hope this show tonight could have been a little bit of therapeutic. I get it. Everyone, I was a little bit bummed out at work today too. Like, everyone's a little bit bummed. I really hope this show could be a little bit therapeutic, get all the bad juju out there, talk about the negative things. But we also got to end this, but talking about, I get it. Everyone's bummed out after last night. There's questions about Sam Darnold now. But no matter what, this team has one more game to play. Sam Darnold, for the future of his career, needs to bounce back. This defense was hot last week, played really, really well until they just literally couldn't do it anymore. And you're not just going to fall. You're not just going to. Kevin O'Connell's not just going to let this team fall over and die, right? There's another game to be played. They're going to go into this thing. They're going to do their best to try to win it. I personally think they will. It's going to be it's going to be tough, but you can't be all doom and gloom, and you can't just think the season's over because we lost one regular season game. I understand it's frustrating, but there's still more football. Okay. There's still more football to be played, and I expect this team to bounce back in a big way. And if they don't, well, then we get into the offseason. We can start having those conversations about what to do with the future. But yeah, those are all put to the side because there's still more football to be played. And this team has bounced back multiple times when they needed to, and they're going to have to do it again. And at least this time, though, you're not going to LA on a 3 days rest. You get an extra day with the Monday Night Football game. So I'm ready, man. I think this team is going to be ready to play. And even if we lose, it's going to be I think it's going to be a bigger fight than we put up last night. Yeah, no, I'm thinking, it really comes down I think we're the better team. If you're getting the Sam Darnold we've seen in the past 5 and not the one that we saw on Sunday, I think we win this. There's no question in my mind. We are the better team when Sam Darnold plays like that. So it really just ultimately comes down to not just the Vikings bouncing back, but really Sam Darnold needs to bounce back in this one. Obviously, a team that we already lost today. I know this has already been brought up, but it is just crazy that we lost to the Lions, lost to the Rams, and then now it's just Lions. If we beat the Rams, Lions again. If we lose this one, the only teams we've lost to this year, our 4 losses were from the same teams. But I do think we're better on paper. I do think our defense, I really liked how our defense stepped up for most of the game last week, was able to hold Gibbs in for the most part until the end. And then as far as those little short throws, for the most part, at least we were creating turnovers. We were getting to Goff. We were killing momentum on defense. And we just got to do it again against this offense that does have a lot of talent there. But again, this is a lot, and it's going to be talked about all week.
is going to ride on the arm of Sam Darnold this week. Whether it's completely fair or not, it just is going to be. And if he plays the way he was prior to that Lions game, I do think we have the best chance of winning this one, even if it's in LA. And hopefully that's the case.
And just literally for just not even Vikings future, but for the future of Sam Darnold, he needs to play well this game to put some playoff action on tape. Like that, if that last game is indicative of what he does this week, then I mean that's
Maddie, let's go.
Lose him. That's going to lose him a lot of money. So
remind me it's your birthday on our next show, Maddie.
But again, I fully expect this team to bounce back, and it's the one and done things. Like I get the frustrations. I get after last night, it doesn't fill you with a lot of confidence. But what else are you going to do? I mean, you're in the playoffs. You're not just going to roll over and die. Like this team's going to fight, and they're going to put on a better showing than this. And I think that Sam Darnold is going to step up. So it all just comes together. This team just needs to come together. And I mean, you have nothing to lose now. Like you're on the road. You got to be road warriors. You got to find a way to get it done.
And yeah, I think we can do it. That's why I'm like, obviously it sucks. Like you would have loved to have the number 1 seed and all of that. Like, of course, but I'm not like, even when we were on Bleacher Report, like everybody in there was just like, oh, we're fucked. And I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I think we can beat this Lions team. I think we win. If Sam Darnold's playing the way he was before again, I think we beat this Lions team. I just do. I think we can beat them. I'm hoping we do get that chance to go get them again. But it all starts with this one. Might as well keep going with the KOC. We got to go 1-0 this week to play the Lions the next week. But I'm hoping that, and hopefully everybody's right with people saying like, hey, this is probably good. Like we were on this high. We're trying to hold this win streak going or whatever. And then now it's kind of like you get punched in the mouth, and now it's kind of like a reset. Like, okay, like time to like put our focus towards playoffs and things like that. But hey, at least there's some hope there and some optimism there that this Viking fan base kind of needs right now.
Before we get into the giveaway, since if everybody in the chat if everybody in Vikings land is correct, our season could end next Monday night. We had a goal to hit 1,600 subscribers by the end of the Vikings season. We are at 1,518. We are 82 away from 1,600. Can we get there in a week? Might be tough. But we at least have 2 weeks. The Vikings will win. We at least have 2 more weeks. We got to get 1,600. So make sure to hit
hopefully we have 4 more weeks. Our goal was 1,500, but everybody hooked it up big time for us. We crushed that. So now we're upping our ante. We're aiming for 1,600 by the end of the season, which would be fucking awesome. But anyways, let's get going on here. If anybody doesn't know, we pick 5 names from here. Whoever 5 names make it to the next round, which is a duck race. Whoever wins the duck race wins the JJ McCarthy rookie card. Let's get that rolling. 3, 2, 1, boom. Can I double subscribe? I mean, if you make another account. Bob Sweet, I think you won our last one.
He's in them all the time.
He is. He always makes these. Swede, I see you. You're in here. You're in here.
Yeah. You never know.
All right. Keeping on going. We got Swede. And we've got Joker Nation. Joker, are you still in here? I think it's been a while since I've seen you.
Hell yeah, Kinetic. We appreciate that, my man. And it's only going to get better.
I appreciate you.
It's only going to get better when your boys are starting quarterback.
Yep. Facts. And it's going to get, I don't know, man. We got some plans. We got some good stuff coming. Hopefully this offseason. We're always trying to improve this stuff. So ultimately, we're trying to make a good time for everybody in here. That's the main goal. Joker, I'm going to keep going here. I'm not sure if we see Joker. Let's go. Boom, Kinetic.
Oh, yeah. Has he won one yet?
He's in there. Kinetic, yeah, he's won. Right. I don't know if you won a JJ McCarthy. Actually, he did. I just sent him his got mailed back to me. I just resent it out again, actually.
LA, not much home field advantage. That is very true. There will be a lot of Vikings fans there, I'm sure.
Well, it usually is. That's why I'm not as worried about their home field advantage, but
it's more of like the traveling, the time change.
That stuff definitely matters.
But again, it's not a short week this time, which is great. The short week really was not Fun.
George, you still here?
I mean, he was here about a minute. He was here like a minute ago, so should be.
He should be here. I don't think we got Joker in here. Let's keep on rolling. What we got? How many people we got? 3. Boom, Smokey.
Doesn't even matter if he's
here or not.
He's in anyway.
He deserves like all my cards, not just this one at this point. Keep on going here. We got Blunt in here. Smokey's in here, whether he likes it or not. Gary will beat the Rams this time around. Yeah, I mean, we should beat them. I feel confident. Barber, which he did say he is willing to give this one up. I'll let him decide on that if he wins. Thought it was going to go past me. Let's go. All right, that's all the names here. Let me swap over. I got to be the unicorn duck.
Yeah.
Dang, we can't even do the whole. This was supposed to be 15. Let me get it. All right, there we go. All right, we got the names here. Bob Sweet, Kinetic, Blunt, Smokey, and Barber. Let's go. 45 seconds. Set the clock. How many times are we doing this?
1-0.
2-0. 3-0. Ooh, 3-0. What's that? That's NFC. That's making it to the Super. So we got to go one more here, no matter what. Oh, we can't.
Smokey's not the unicorn duck, so can we?
We can't. No, we can't. What do you think?
I mean, they're all just different colors, which is interesting.
Oh, you want to donate too? All right, how about this? Let's just I'm gonna click. I'm just gonna feel it out. I'm feeling this one out. Nope, not that one. I want to find the Viking duck.
This could take a while.
Give me 1 second. Come on, not gonna give me the Viking duck a single time. All right, there it is. And a purple duck. All right, we got the Viking duck, the purple duck. Smokey's willing to give his card up. I know Barber is as well. Let's get this over. 3, 2, 1. Boom. We are off with Kinetic and the Viking duck. Green like my weed. Kinetic's way ahead. He is taking off right now with the Viking cap. We got Blunt in second. It looks like Barber third. Man, Kinetic's just not slowing down. It's there it is. He's slowing way down. Everybody's slowing down.
Oh, looks like
he's going way back, bouncing off. Purple duck. Kinetic. It's Blunt. It's Blunt.
Got it.
Purple duck with the victory. And it goes to George. Let's go. George, obviously I got all of your stuff, my guy.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously, rough day. A lot of people were upset. I know I was a little bummed out. But again, it just feels like everyone's basically assuming the season's over. It's not done yet. I mean, we're still in the freaking playoffs somewhere none of us, really thought we'd be. We have 14 wins. No matter what, this was a really, really good season. And we just gotta find a way to keep moving and get it done. I mean, it's just that's really kind of what it comes down to is, it's again, no one's gonna feel sorry for you. You still got to play the game. You can't just roll over. That's just not good for the future of the franchise. You got to find a way to bounce back. No one on this team is gonna quit because a lot of them, honestly, a lot of people have some money on the line too at the end of the day. So it's like, I really, really do believe that this team is gonna bounce back here.
Quit it with the whining. Similar whiners in the Lions Kingdom. KLC has 2 put your news on the records. That's funny. Coming in hot. I can donate my card. It's up to you. It's up to you. If anybody in here wants one of these cards, let us know. Smokey and Mark, appreciate you guys big time for the donies. Man, always huge for us. Appreciate you. We just need to play better. Yeah, that's it. We just need to play better. It's easy. That easy. Play better. You win the game. Score more points than the other team. You win the game. That's how we need to do.
Absolutely.
And of course, we'll be on here Thursday to talk about this game specifically. But Smokey, you need a card. Smokey said he was going to give it up too.
We might need to start that. We might need to start finding some different things other than cards to do for these. My goodness.
Or I have to get some new cards. I mean, I could give. Does anyone want? I could give Smokey if you want this Jordan Addison card instead. I just know those JJ McCarthy cards are actually going to have like some real value in the future, but
you never know.
Never know.
Either way, we got George's email. We can always get it figured out through there as well. But anything else you got?
That's it. Let's just
as Jamie said, we really do appreciate the donos. Even
if we got you, Smokey. I got you.
You guys being here. As Jamie said, we'll be here on Thursday. We're probably gonna push our
Monday show
to Tuesday next week. Hopefully it's a good. Hopefully we're all feeling good on Tuesday. So we'll see.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you guys next time.
I got Dallas Turner for George, and then I'll still send the Jordan Addison to the guy Smokey. So get you guys both some of those cards. But
Absolutely.
hey, let's go. Appreciate you guys. Love you all too.